Oh, well, hello there, Site-42 staff, as well as those of you from the greater SCP Foundation community, and welcome to another Office Hours with Dr. Sherman, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. As happens every day for 6 months and counting on a daily streak, I once a day open my office doors to you, the Foundation staff, to answer your questions about the anomalies we contain, the staff that contains them, the groups of interest who try to stop us from containing so much, and of course, hypothetical containment procedures about anomalies that fall outside of the SCP Foundation's purview. Perhaps they're from a different multiverse or pataphysical narrative level, i.e. fandom. I'm here for the next just over an hour and a half to answer your questions. And of course, talk about today's stream subject, the best cryptid type SCP entities. But before we get into the subjects of today's stream, let me start by saying, Cat Exodus, welcome to Site-42 staff, and thank you for subscribing. Junior Researcher Sally, reclaiming your crown as the first most punctual chatter of today's stream. Congratulations. Then, America, Amber, Senior Researcher Alex, Billy the Goat, The Engineer, Chester Factory, Silent Follower, Haunted Researcher, A.A. Blackwood, Researcher Voidell, Alki. Everyone whom I have just named, thank you for being here punctually, and thank you for being members. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially helping us to win the battle against the white names. Furthermore, Bug the Goober, Sachi, Dark Phoenix, and Joey Smith. You guys, welcome to today's stream. Thank you for being punctual, and thank you for being here just for being you today. So, hold on a second. Last is Darkness. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some Skittles on your way past the commissary. Mallow, of course, and Not for the Lewds Company. Okay, Mallow could easily be considered a cryptid type SCP, and thankfully you're not trying to fuck it. Those Garam monster fuckers, I swear. So thank you for not trying to fraternize with an anomaly. We really are the best of the best around here, huh? Meanwhile, Chastior, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a chicken empanada on your way past the commissary. Hi, boss. Tally of things that got through SCP-999. 2 10K energy drinks, Monster Energy drink, and 5 Air Energy. Stupidity is worse than a cognito hazard. So when I told you not to give SCP-999 the 10,000 gram energy drink, you all just decided to ignore that order. Duly noted. I guess Site-42 is not getting raises this year. Scarlet, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself a... Okay. I absolutely am not asking you to elaborate because we are in the middle of a public platform and this kind of thing is not a thing you should bring up in a public square. This is the kind of thing you get help from close friends for, okay? I am not a mental health professional, nor is the chat. If you need serious help, we very much shouldn't be doing that kind of outcry in the middle of a stream chat. Please talk to your family and or friends and get help. And yes, you said isn't talking to people. I don't know how else to help. So please ask somebody who has an idea, because I don't. Again, a theater college dropout, not a mental health professional. What is a cryptid? So a cryptid is basically an entity, an anomaly. In real life, a cryptid is like Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster. It is a mythical entity that some people believe is real, that some people go cryptid hunting to see if they can get the picture of the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot. A lot of people get them, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Pranks. A lot of people prank that they exist. It's a whole to-do. And so, yes, for instance, Bigfoot is SCP-1000. So you could say a cryptid. Bigfoot 1000 is a cryptid. Cam, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a stroopwafel on your way past the commissary. AO. Well, AO to you too. Scarlett, I don't know what a Kinder Bueno is. Thank you for donating again, but I don't know what that is. Chazior, thank you for donating again. Oh, I like the Bigfoot SCP. Love the smart apes. And as a reminder, if you enjoy a story on the SCP Wiki of any kind, go to the series page of that listing. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. So if you go to the SCP Wiki and you look at SCP by series, oh my god, series 10 is here now. SCP-9000 is official, everyone. Series 10 exists. But we're going back to series 2. And on the top here, you'll see series 2 Tales Edition. So right here, you see SCP-1000, Bigfoot. But if I take you to the Tales Edition page, now you get all of the tales that involve the Big Feet, as well as it lists their tag if you want to look into their tag. So, if you want to know more stories that include your favorite SCPs, go to the Tales Edition. Chazior, thank you for donating again. Boss, what to do with researchers that accidentally gave SCP-999 caffeine? D-Class already got terminated, but so far I only reported Dr. Watson. They're all getting demoted to D-Class, clearly. Can't follow orders, a lot of them. Scarlett, thank you for donating again, and Desk has shown me the Kinder Bueno branded chocolate. So now I know what you're talking about. Cam, I appreciate you donating. We appreciate your generosity. You don't need to donate nor chat. You can lurk. Lurking is a well-regarded hobby of streaming. And so you don't gotta say anything. Don't feel pressured to speak. Just enjoy the ride. We're here to talk about cryptids today in the SCP universe. No, Val, you cannot feed SCP-999 eggnog right now. It's already bouncing off the walls, and we've had to quarantine that wing. So, patience. Besides, it's not even Halloween yet. Eggnog season isn't for another couple of weeks. Now, speaking of SCPs and cryptids. First of all, do we have a cryptid tag? That would make things very quick. Where is the tags? Cryptid. Probably not, because that would be too vast a situation. SV tag cloud. Page tags. I assume everything is kind of a cryptid in one way or another, and therefore it is not likely to be its own tag. Hate it when I'm right. All right, so that means we are classifying them as we are. Now because we don't have a cryptid tag, let me be very specific about the definition of cryptid, so we're all on the same page here. I don't want to be too loose if we are having to make up these instances on our own. A cryptid is noun from the dictionary for Oxford, an animal whose existence or survival is disputed or unsubstantiated, unsubstantiated, such as the Yeti or Bigfoot. Okay. So it is just a creature known from folklore or legend. Huh. Okay, well that's a pretty wide definition then. Ooh, desk, coming in clutch. Apparently, there's a hub for the SCP Wiki of the Cryptozoology Division. And so in the Cryptozoology Division, they have several entities already locked down for us. The Not Deer, the Hide Behind, Jipute, British Big Cats, Knucker, Globster, Frogman. Oh, is Dr. Frogman here? Gonna have a field day. And Site 44, the home of the Cryptozoology Division. Gotcha. All right. Well, that's fun. AJ, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Scarlett, thank you for the sushi. And thank you for donating again. Silent Follower, thank you for your first donation of today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a crepe on your way past the commissary. My name coming full circle, lol. Must be about the lurking. I see. Perfect timing. Cam, thank you for donating again. And this is your first time donating? Okay, first day donating, I see. Well, yeah, save it for when you've got an interesting question or something you want to throw down with. Chazior, thank you for donating again. Understood, taking care of those researchers now. Good. Well, right now I'm not going to say this is my favorite cryptid as an SCP, but I'm going to say it's my current favorite. It's the flavor of the week cryptid, and that is the thumbnail of today's stream, the Pizza Freak. If you are not familiar, Pizza Freak, which is now classified, I believe, as SCP-9505, of course, it's not recent enough so I can get to it on Google, but I can find it the old-fashioned way. Ah, it's 9595, I see. That was part of my problem, is I got the number wrong. John Master, thank you for subscribing, or Josh Master, thank you for subscribing and welcome to staff. Bro, I'm eating pizza right now. The coincidence is crazy. Nice. So yes, the pizza freak, as pictured in the thumbnail, well, very dramatically in the thumbnail, is a stereotypical Italian chef character with the chef hat and the chef robe and the apron and the Chef Boyardee mustache, the whole thing. And so, the pizza freak's deal is you'll see it out in public, eating a pizza like a madman, just ravenously face first in the pizza. And if you acknowledge the pizza freak, it stares at you, then it chases you down, and it kills you. Except somehow, you're still alive after the fact. And so, you go around saying, oh yeah, I was killed by the pizza freak, I'm dead. But you're not actually dead. And also, we can't prove the pizza freak exists. So yes, research is still needed, very mysterious, and I think that's leading to the cryptids. When we're looking at SCP entities, I guess any SCP entity could be a... What's the phrase I'm looking for? Because everything SCP could also be a cryptid in the first place, I feel like it needs a little bit of an air of mystery to it on the SCP Wiki to be an SCP and a cryptid. Do you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe I'm just making a distinction without a difference. Blackwood. It doesn't fuck the pizzas. You should really read the article before you make these assumptions. Scarlet, thank you for donating twice. And yes, please clear things up with Desk as needed. Ooh, when did we get new music? Chromatic, great question. About a week or so ago, friend of the chat, Amber, informed me that our previous music was by known royalty music creator Kevin MacLeod, who has been using AI music generation. And because we don't know of what kind, and we don't know of how much, and we don't know what songs, we are just erring on the side of caution and using music that we know doesn't include AI generation, so it works with the license of the SCP Wiki. And that is music by friend of the channel, Billith, aka Slowgramming. And the Slowgramming is an experimental lo-fi trance electronic series of music, a lot of it relating to the SCP Wiki proper. Actually does songs that are about the SCPs, and so gives you good vibes. Figure it's the right thing to do, support a SCP artist as well as upgrade our tunage. Yellow, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. And Desk has shared Billith's YouTube channel in the description if you want to check out their music for yourself. Slowgramming is also available on Spotify. What is this stream about, and what is an SCP cryptid? Well, every day here at Site 42, we stream to talk about the SCP Foundation, a Creative Commons community of stories based on the idea that there's a secret organization hiding monsters and magic from the public. And we study them, we contain them so that the general public can live their normal lives. And then an SCP cryptid would be a cryptid that is contained by the SCP Foundation. Could an object be a cryptid? You know, it's usually a living creature. I mean, that's in the definition. I'm wondering about cryptid objects now. I'm imagining a cube you find in the forest, and then it does something and disappears, so you can't prove it was there. Cryptid objects. It doesn't look like people include objects in the term cryptid normally, at least through a cursory glance. Is the Kelpie an SCP or not? Well, do we have a Kelpie in containment? I wouldn't be shocked. No. It does seem like we do not have a standard Kelpie in containment. Although they are mentioned 3 times on the SCP Wiki, twice in Tales, and once in SCP-7934, codename Monster by Hoax Persister. It is a marine reptile bearing close resemblance to a specimen of a plesiosaurus. Perhaps it was mistaken for a Kelpie at some point. So yes, it does not seem like we have a Kelpie in containment. Intern Joel, I am not an SCP. If I were, I would have an SCP document on the SCP Wiki. In fact, there are many anomalies that are in the SCP Foundation universe but are not SCPs. For instance, for the very longest time, the Scarlet King was not an SCP. It was a big thing in SCP lore, but no one ever wrote the Scarlet King SCP article. So it was an anomaly, but it wasn't an SCP. Now, I think Tufto001 proposal codified the Scarlet King as an SCP, if I'm remembering right. I am an SCP. I am mentioned in Clef seminar. Take that, Dr. Sherman. Being mentioned in a tale doesn't make you an SCP, Desk. You're still just an anomaly. Don't have a existential crisis about it. An SCP needs an SCP article. These are special containment procedures. If you don't have special containment procedures about you, you are not an SCP. In fact, the log of anomalous items is a bunch of anomalous objects that are not SCPs because they are just anomalous objects. Scarlet, thank you for donating again, and good night. Dr. Sherman, would you consider SCP-323 a cryptid? Is that not the Wendigo skull? If so, I would say, funnily enough, I would say no, but I would say it could be the source of a cryptid. Because SCP-323 is the skull that if someone puts it on their head, it turns them into an anomalous entity. And so one could say that SCP-323-1 is a cryptid, but not 323 itself. What is the most popular SCP to normally come across in day-to-day life? Intern Joel, the most likely SCP you are going to come across in day-to-day life is SCP-8900-EX. SCP-8900-EX is the fact that the entire world that you perceive is in color. A long time ago, the entire world shifted from black and white to color as we know it. And the only things that weren't affected were photographs of the way things used to be. So we had to disinformation campaign it up that, oh, it's because camera technology was old that it shows things in black and white and not in color. And then we had to amnesticize the whole world into thinking that things had always been colorful. So every time you see a color, that's an SCP. Doesn't get more common than that. Does he know Trevor Henderson? I am quite familiar with the artist known as Trevor Henderson and his universe of essentially cryptids. In fact, if anyone said Siren Head was their favorite SCP cryptid, I was going to have a cow and not a big Charlie. Because everyone knows that Siren Head is not an SCP, but there was the summer of 2020 when everyone pretended it was to annoy me specifically. What is your favorite SCP, Dr. Sherman? I always tell you my favorite SCPs at the end of stream. It's kind of a tradition around these parts. It's part of the outro. And so if you want to wait the approximately hour and 12 minutes left of stream, then I will tell you then. Or you can cheat, go back to yesterday's stream, and then you will know immediately. David Saeed, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Did we find those Chaos Insurgents? Jazior, regarding the Chaos Insurgents that now have possession of the knowledge of how to create George the Chinchilla instances, we do not know where they are yet, but we are trying to track the dregs of whatever crew was left after their breach. We did manage to harm / incapacitate / eliminate many of their troops, but the ones that got away, and so we need to find them and either amnesticize or eliminate them before they can go through with their plans and or transmit George to the greater Chaos Insurgency, where then we are basically in trouble. Hey, Dr. Sherman, did you hear that SCP Secret Lab is adding chase themes to their SCPs? I'm very determined to get you to see this, okay? When you say chase themes, what does that mean exactly? Because I assume that the SCPs are constantly chasing people, so... But elaborate for me, elaborate. So no one has mentioned SCP-2662, I'm surprised. You know, I think Cthulhu is almost at too grand a scale to be a cryptid on its own. It's more qualified into that outsider, unknowable entity thing. But there is the fact that this is also not the actual Cthulhu. This is a Cthulhu in containment, but not the Cthulhu. SCP-2662. 4 meters in height. And 200 kilograms in weight. So yes, not that big. But, I don't know. Would 2662, do you think that feels like a cryptid? It is just a singular entity, at least of a species that we haven't seen more of. Sir Theo, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. It's tough to be a teenage god. SCP-2662 probably. Oh yeah, Chum has it rough with all the cultists trying to worship it in, frankly, disgusting ways. Is Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls an SCP? Well, because it's from Gravity Falls, it is not an SCP because it's not on the SCP Wiki. We can't take someone's actual original work and then install it on the SCP Wiki. That's cheating. That's against the law of copyright. So yes, it is anomalous as an entity, but it is not an SCP. Does the wiki allow posting SCPs that got downvoted to death back? Well, only if they've gone through some hella rewrites to make them quality, because if they got downvoted out, then they're going to stay out as they are. You can't just re-upload it and hope for a second try with different voters, if that's what you're asking. Jeff, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a beignet on your way past the commissary. What classification would an SCP that can do anything it wants and is uncontainable but chooses to be chill, stay, and help around? I mean, most likely it's going to be decommissioned. Something that OP, but it just hangs out. That's the kind of thing that SCP-083-D, Duke, the vampire, was one of those and got taken down for being a Mary Sue. SCP-343 is kind of like that, but at least there's some undertones that something's not quite right there. Frickin' reality bender with delusions of grandeur. Erasing researchers who are too interested in its backstory from reality. Not good. Furthermore... But yes, if you manage to get one like that, it should be considered Keter since it can do anything, la la la. PJ Puff, that is not called Thaumiel. Thaumiel are SCPs that contain other SCPs. For instance, SCP-3000 is Thaumiel because we can use it to produce amnestic, which helps us do our job. And even that's only tangentially set. What is a Mary Sue? So, this is important to your SCP writing that you're familiar with this concept, even though it's kind of hazy. So, honestly, research it for a deeper look because it is going to be very helpful to your writing. But in short terms, a Mary Sue character is typically an author self-insert, and it is usually a power fantasy where you make the super coolest guy who everyone likes and solves all the problems and does a good job. Mary Sues typically don't have a lot of flaws, and if they do have flaws, they're flaws that are actually cool, like, oh yeah, they have scars, but they're really cool scars. They're not ugly scars that make them disfigured, they just make them look even cooler. Or they have 2 different colored eyes from an injury as a baby, and it makes them look mysterious. It was coined back in the Star Trek original series fanfiction days for people who wrote fanfiction of the Star Trek crew, but also their own original character, who was very pretty and had a relationship with Spock, and all the other characters super liked them a whole lot. That is where your Mary Sue kind of originated. And so, I mean, think of it like this. Oh no, trust me, desk. Edgelord is part of the Mary Sue formula. Let's not forget, Alto Clef is pretty Mary Sue coded. At least, especially in the beginning of the wiki. You might Monty Python and say, it got better. But I don't think author Clef would disagree with that assessment. Most of the author avatars were Mary Sue's. Just look at the Mary Sue off that is the tale Duke Till Dawn, in which Dr. Kondraki and SCP-083-D, Duke, have a Mary Sue off that ends in the destruction of 083. Desk, I probably didn't see what you were saying because I am, Yes, okay, I scrolled up in the chat and I see now, yes. No, I was still on a rant. I was on a tear. I didn't see what you said. They were Mary Sue's, but they were awesome. That's not always bad. Sometimes you can have a character be a Mary Sue and have a little fun with it, but it's not going to likely be the purest literature. And you know, just like glam rock in the 80s is cheesy, sometimes you want some cheese for your chips, okay? But you got to be careful with it. You can't go too far. SCP-777-J, codename Darkblade, is the epitome of Mary Sue characters written as a joke article. So you can check that out to see, okay, how much does my character sound like Darkblade? Because if it sounds like SCP-777-J, maybe I need to change some things. Chris, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and thank you for donating through the Ko-Fi, which has less fees, which helps us out, so we appreciate it. Make sure to grab yourself a chorizo burrito on your way past the commissary. I cheated and used Google to find these cryptids. Don't know if you brought them up. 6448, 4384, 2750, 3934, 2901, and 6453. Well, that sure is a lot of things to look at. But more importantly, I'm more worried about what your favorite cryptids are. Not just what SCP cryptids there are, because there are a lot of them. But which ones are your favorite cryptids? Dark Duality, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a bowl of jambalaya on your way past the commissary. SCP-4434, you say? So is that your favorite cryptid, or is that just a cryptid, Dark Duality? Either way, I'm pulling it up. The anglerfish. So we have a group of interconnected anomalies detailed below. You have advertisements in West Virginia. You have a sapient amorphous entity capable of vocalization in at least 4 languages. You have 25 deer-like entities that act like canine pack animals, and a hole in the ground. Oh boy. These guys are having a good time. Yes. Hidden in the woods, being sneaky and hunting people. Very cryptid. Very good. Good choice. Is Bigfoot in containment? In a way, Darth Warrior, SCP-1000 is Bigfoot, but depending on your iteration, there was a big war, and we, the Foundation, or our predecessors, I don't remember exactly right now, annihilated the Bigfoot race because they were a threat to normalcy. Time check, please. We are currently 40 minutes into stream with approximately an hour left. Also, you are correct, Hazard. We do have more likes than viewers right now. Congratulations, Site42, Containment Hazard Assessment Team. Because you got that like count so high, the YouTube algorithm is going to keep bringing us people. And maybe they don't know SCP so good, but then they see us and they're like, oh, these guys have some good ideas. These guys have some good containment procedures. Well, let's hang out for a bit. Let's hang out. And that's how we get them. And that's how they help us support the SCP Wiki as a team. So thank you for your service, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename the Signal Boosters. Actually, fun fact, Desk, you might be entertained at this. I just watched a linguist break down the 6-7 meme. And apparently there's something we've all been missing about the 6-7 meme. Now, as a quick primer before I get to the main event here. In case you're unfamiliar, 6-7 is a big thing that a lot of kids are saying these days. The 6-7 meme is spread among the Gen Alphas. At least the way they use it, seems to be a meaningless meme, which means that it's just something you say to prove that you're in the in-group of knowing the joke. There's not like a secret meaning behind it. But, and furthermore, the reason we have to talk about it is because there's a secondary meme that if it is spooky on the internet, it will be called an SCP even when it isn't. So when the 6-7 kid went viral for saying 6-7 on a TikTok, they analog horror the kid into a big world-eating monster. And because it became a spooky thing on the internet, everyone started calling it SCP-6-7. And so now we're hearing about it constantly, which is why Desk keeps getting rid of 6-7ers in the chat, because there's so much. Too much. But here's the funny thing. So now you know why we're talking about it. You know a cursory thing of the meme, but here's the deal. A deeper analysis of the meme's history might refer it to a song lyric. A song lyric where someone says 6-7. And I don't remember the name of the artist. I don't remember, I'm looking it up right now. 6-7 song lyrics. It's by artist Skrilla in the song Doot Doot 6-7. But the linguist who was talking about it earlier pointed up the fact that one part of this meme is the fact that white people will listen to black music and then not understand a lick of it and just memify the song without actually knowing its meaning. And so I'm going to get you the video I looked at so I'm not just talking out my keister. But apparently, what this linguist is claiming is that the line, the way I switch Bert, no he die and get him, 6-7 I just bipped right on the highway, damn, is a reference to someone getting shot, a 1067 in police code, and then running away. And so the 6-7 refers to killing a dude. But the children who don't get that reference have turned it into calling basketball players who are 6'7" or just saying the word 6'7" again and again, especially because they're talking, the song is talking in a lot of slang that the children don't understand, and instead, they just cling on to the one word they understand, 6'7". That just got really, that was an interesting linguistic thought about it. Memetic mutation of misunderstood memes by the children's. And yes, Silent Follower, while it is cringe, let us remember, the children are always cringe. All children have always been cringe. We, when we were children, were all cringe. And also, we're all still cringe in one way or another. You can't deny all cringe. You gotta embrace some cringe. Or at least you've gotta forgive some cringe. History. If you are interested in learning the linguistic history of 6'7", you can look into this video I'm posting in the chat called Is 6'7 Just Brain Rot by YouTuber Language Jones. Save that to your watch later. Man, do we all feel more educated now? I think I feel more educated now. Infinite Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a Denver omelet on your way past the commissary. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Oh, sorry, I didn't even say what Infinite Dragon said. Shit, shoot. Lands on your roof. Hello, Dr. Sherman, how are you? Well, I'm doing okay. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Most Defa favorite since that was the one that popped up in my mind, but only because I didn't know if we have a jackalope. Oh! Desk just told me about our jackalope. SCP-7134, apparently. Contained by Mobile Task Force Samson 7, codename Bugsy's Bunny, is literally analogous to the jackalope of North American folklore. So it is a jackalope-like entity, SCP-7134. Maverick the Dragon, welcome to Mobile Task Force Captainship here at Site-42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially in the battle against the White Names. Also, another dragon. Another dragon, interesting. Is there a Jersey Devil SCP? Well, Desk, are you familiar? If I scan the database, that didn't work. It might be 4059. Well, it's codenamed the Jersey Devil, so I guess so. Puppet Boy, yes, another dragon. We have Dr. Darkstar, we have Infinite Dragon, now we have Maverick the Dragon. I know that's not the only 3 dragons, there are more dragons. Drake is a dragon, you're right, Clef, there you, or Desk, you're right there. Isaac, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a smoothie on your way past the commissary. I'm making an SCP that is similar to SCP-343, just more dangerous. What class would it be? Alright, so here's my first question, though. How are you going to get more dangerous than a reality bender with delusions of grandeur? What is going to make anything more dangerous than that? That's my first question. Moonston, you are correct. Dr. Pepper Dragon is also on our dragon list. We have so many dragons. There's got to be something at Site-42 that is attracting dragons to the Containment Hazard Assessment Team. I think we might need to research this, actually. But, yes, Isaac, tell me more. But any reality bender that is alive is a Keter entity and is more likely to be shot nowadays than contained. Forrest Connor, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself some... what's it called? Gumbo on your way past the commissary. SCP screwed over all my college notes. I write like an SCP log now. I just wrote about prompting an AI required for assignment like it was an SCP. Ah, they're teaching you the AI in the schools now. Love that for society. Cool. I mean, hey, depending on how you write your notes, that could help you keep things classified very cleanly. So maybe it's a benefit. Maybe it's a benefit. Isaac, thank you for donating again. A universe ender. Well, 343 could feasibly end the universe as well, which is why I'm saying, what? But remember that danger also has nothing to do with object class. Object class is only containment difficulty, and so if it's a reality bender, it's probably a Keter. It's just extremely hard to contain. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. I want to pet it. Rabbit deer, so the jackalope. Okay. Well, now you know what SCP anomaly it is, so you can look it up. Although it does look fairly new, or at least fairly controversial, because it's only got a +10 rating. And so, it's not doing well. I wonder if there's something up with it, so to speak. Josh, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself a wheatgrass shot on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman. How many trophies you got on Clash Royale? What the hell is a Clash Royale? Is that like a Royale with cheese? Maverick the Dragon, thank you for your 2-month member message as a Mobile Task Force captain. I guess you just refreshed your membership. That makes sense. How would you be able to capture a dimensional jump dragon? That would be me. Any anomaly that can teleport either from place to place or between dimensions is a huge pain to contain. I mean, look at SCP-507, the Reluctant Dimension Hopper. How are we supposed to contain it if it can just teleport out of its cell? So, unless a Scranton reality anchor will do the job, and those are extremely expensive and don't always work the way we want them to, then it might not help. The Secret Lab's chase themes are similar to 106 March of Decay and CB. 096's theme is Blind Rage by Sixie. Very determined to get this across as well. Okay. Okay. James the Rail Fan, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself a plate of flapjacks on your way past the commissary. Hey, Dr. Sherman just came by to say thanks for getting the anomaly out of my model trains. Anyway, have a box of cookies. Down with cookies. But then, let's arrange some testing on that model train entity. And since you're a model train expert, I would like you to look in on the testing protocols. General Kitten, thank you for your first donation of today's stream. Grab yourself a cinnamon roll on your way past the commissary. Code Silver, Doctor, I may have found something that posed a threat to use all an event that I combining Infinite Kia with Walmart and a Costco. Code Cold Silver, Doctor, I may have found something that may pose a threat to use all an event that I combining Infinite IKEA with Walmart and a Costco. I am sorry, that does not make sense to me. in so many ways. Please, the good news is that there's only the infinite IKEA. There is no infinite Walmart or infinite Costco, so we don't have to worry about that at least. Hey, Dr. Sherman, do you have any video game characters, consoles, accessories locked up in the Foundation like SCP-674? We have a lot of video game anomalies. For instance, SCP-5045 is the anomalous game Goat VR. That is a very particularly spooky article, so keep an eye on that one. SCP-5999, one of its scenarios is an anomalous video game. SCP-5094, Miss J's Schoolhouse, is an anomalous video game, educational game character. There's that. What is that frickin' team? Why don't I ever remember their number? It is an SCP, people trapped in a video game, and we ended up using them as a mobile task force. 2639. One day I'm going to remember the designation for SCP-2639 because it's a freaking cool story, and I never remember what number they are. I don't know why their number pops out of my head like that. Jessica, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. SCP-2639, codename Video Game Violence, is a team of Quake deathmatch players who travel. They're trapped in the video game. They are deposited in real-world areas, and they have their Quake game, and they shoot people, and they destroy buildings, and then they disappear. If they die, they come back to life the next time the game respawns. And so, it is a very deep article. It is definitely worth a read if you haven't seen it before, because the way they characterize this task force is quite interesting. Don't forget... Oh, damn it, desk. Of course, when talking about video game anomalies, how could I forget the Among Us SCP? And what number? What number? What number is the Among Us SCP, chat? The Among Us SCP is SCP-5167. We can't escape it. What a time to be in a numbers-focused fandom, I swear. Goldtooth's Lair, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a shot of turmeric on your way past the commissary. You think the person that made the SCP Here Be Dragons ever make a new entry? Also, hey, they finally caught... Also, hey there, finally caught one of your streams. Well, good to see you in stream for today's Containment Hazard Assessment team. Glad you could make it. And the author of SCP-1762... 1762 is SCP author... Ooh, unlisted. How peculiar. SCP author Oz Ouroboros. I am familiar with some of their work. On their author page, they have written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 entities. Now, technically speaking, 1762, Here Be Dragons, is the first SCP they wrote. Now, I only know that because they tell this story on their author page. But they also wrote very good article from the one that we have on the channel as a reading that's very good. SCP-3001, Red Reality, is an Oz Ouroboros SCP. Apparently, it's their last SCP. So they wrote 1762, 2988, 2954, 489, 2902, and 2905, ending with 3001. So yes, you can check out Oz Ouroboros' SCP author page if you want to see the rest of their works. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. Petting aborted its dead and Keter. Ah, nope, yes. A jackalope that is zombified and gross, you shouldn't probably pet that. General Kitten, thank you for donating again, but you probably must have said something against the rules if you got desked. If it's not a bad enough offense, maybe collaborate with Desk and get me whatever your question is without doing a rule break. What if you put a mirror in front of SCP-173? Intern Pizza Man, nothing happens if you put a mirror in front of 173. It does not care about mirrors. Neither does SCP-096, by the way. I wonder which author has written the most SCPs. Got to be one of the OGs, right? Well, I know Sumerian is in, like, second place. Oh, okay, Desk. Thank you for telling me what General Kitten asked, and I will ask that, by the way. I will answer that. General Kitten, you asked if Rule 34 is an SCP. Well, trust me, as much as my hashtag annoyed inasexual ass would like it contained, no, sexifying everything is very much human nature. It's very frustrating. Horny bastards. Now, where was I? I was going to look for something. What was I talking about? It wasn't talking about mirrors. Oh! Most SCPs written. Oh, man, I wish I had a good way to figure that out quickly. Let me take a peek and see if I can win. Sumerian would know. Okay. How do I get an SCP lab coat? Intern Mysterio. The best thing you can do if you want to make yourself an SCP lab coat, do not buy a costume lab coat. They are always more expensive because they're inflated for Halloween prices, and they are usually of a very cheap make. Go to, instead, a medical supply store. They sell lab coats very cheaply because doctors go through lab coats. Scientists go through lab coats. So they're not very expensive. You can go get a real lab coat, try it on, make sure it fits, and then you buy an SCP patch from an excellent SCP shop, such as Toad King Studios on Etsy, the premier SCP merch shop, does a bunch of SCP patches of different kinds, and you can then just iron that sucker on. It's that easy. Raccoon Dog, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Grab yourself a bacon, lettuce, avocado, and tomato sandwich, otherwise known as a blat, on your way past the commissary. A Dr. Whamma-Lamma Bing Bang. Ooh-ee-ooh-ah-ah. Great shirt. Is the design about ferns? Seems to be. Glad you like it. Yes, I think it's very fern-like. I say, as a non-plant knower. Isaac, thank you for donating again. Okay, I'm back. I mean, like he's on the level of the Scarlet King. I will specify if needed. All right, well, be careful if you're going to try and put this on the SCP Wiki, because we already have 343 and the Scarlet King. So you're going to need to really differentiate yours somehow, because if it's the same thing, then people are not going to be interested. They're going to say, we've already got one. How did you get so good at spinning that pen? Practice. I've been spinning this pen for over 10 years. You get good with practice. But as a quick tutorial for your education, hold the pen between your fingers, make it go sideways, both ways, and then pick away, grab it with the next finger, boom. Sideways, grab, boom. Over, over, under, under. Over, over, under, under. You can go the other way as well. And so you saw nothing, except for an excellent tutorial on pen spitting. Hey, Dr. Sherman, I found this Red Bull can. I think it is misprinted because it said 10,000 grams of caffeine. Anyway, it didn't have a name on it, so I drank it. Tasted pretty bitter. The human body cannot withstand more than 400 milligrams of caffeine in a day. 10,000 grams of caffeine would instantly kill you. Your brain would go into shock. You will die. Stop it. Is the back rooms an SCP? Also, why is it the Infinite IKEA is legit just SCP and back rooms? Well, first of all, it's important to remember that SCP-3008, the Infinite IKEA, came first. The back rooms came out far after that, so we've already done that. But yes, infinite spaces of mundane liminal spaces is a very popular thing. It's not shocking that people have come up with different versions over it over time. Isaac, welcome to Level 1 Researchership here at Site 42. We appreciate your membership and your service, especially the help you'll do to help us win the battle against the White Names. Dark Duality, thank you for donating again. SCP-4477, protect us from the anomalous fan art. Yes, Save us, cockblock Jesus. You're our only hope. Honestly, probably my favorite Jesus now. Of the 5 Jesuses that we have in containment, I think cockblock Jesus is my favorite. Can seeing art pieces of SCP-096 make him into hunt mode, or is it only a picture or video footage that causes him to go into hunt mode? Intern 99, you should read the article because it clearly states that artistic depictions do not activate 096. I'm sorry, there's a Jesus for what? Yes, Oswald. It seems that you missed the induction of a new Jesus to our Jesus containment rankings. SCP-4477 is codename Leave Room for Jesus. And it's a Jesus that's in a coma in a hospital, but a spectral Jesus shows up between these teenage dancers to stop them from dancing too close. They have to leave room for Jesus. And so Cockblock Jesus joins the rankings alongside Uber Driver Jesus, Bread Jesus, Milk Jesus or Jesus, and Vor Jesus. So that is a new Jesus for the poker table. Zafti. I always say my favorite SCPs at the end of stream, which is at a time check, 20 to 25 minutes from now. So if you want to hang out 20 to 25 minutes, I'll tell you my favorite SCPs, or if you want to cheat, you can just go back to yesterday's stream, go to the end where I say them, and then come back. Moonstone. I don't have a lot of stupid human tricks, but I am genetically predisposed to do a Slavic squat. I can very easily keep my heels on the floor. The back of my tendons are quite loose compared to most people, which is actually part of how I injured my ankle, because I overused it exercising. So I gotta be more careful about that in the future. Gold's Tooth Lair, thank you for donating again. You know, here's something to keep most of the SCPs contained. Just show them the fan art that people make, and I bet you 90% of them will be begging to stay in the SCP Foundation, lol. You know, not a bad idea. At least some of the sentient ones would stay locked down. What is the stupidest thing the SCP Foundation has done? What is the test or action we did that was a terrible idea? Desk, we gotta have some pretty funny ones in there. My first thought is something to do with the sun launcher. SCP-1543-J, codenamed the Sun Launcher. It is a catapult with an absurdly far length of range. It's not even like a missile or anything. It is a catapult that can launch things to the sun. And so we we launched into the sun a 30-foot monster, a normal human who, while invulnerable, was not any stronger than a normal man and could feel pain, which, you know, that's pretty mean. An atom bomb from the future caused solar flares for a month, half of Europe rendered sterile. A tiny black hole nearly started an end-of-the-world class scenario. A miniature sun, result data expunged. A heat-absorbing ring that caused mild headaches to those in near vicinity. Overseers told to just calm down a little bit. A sentient difference engine that had been requesting a better power source and insinuated that it might be able to use the sun as one. It was launched into the sun, achieved singularity, and invaded Earth. A tree that fed off energy and became stronger because of it, growing more and more branches that attack people. Literally, this was its actual name. Entire ruling council of the Foundation executed for gross stupidity and incompetence. SCP-682 grew wings. Lots of people ended up with razor-sharp feathers in their eyes. Then we invented a large spacecraft shaped like a cannon, and that was our new sun launcher. Now, with this upgraded sun launcher, we launched a meteorite that causes a massive explosion when it unfreezes. It most certainly exploded. A giant creature from another dimension that said it came here to devour our sun. There was darkness for 14 days. I guess it didn't devour hard enough. We sent 214 viruses and 513 bacteria into the sun. We launched a dark matter sun core demon into the sun. 12 fungi, 3 of which die when exposed to room temperature. A completely harmless rock that could not be destroyed as long as it was by the Earth. So when it got to the sun, it was destroyed. A small globe that controls what happens on Earth. Whatever is inflicted on it occurs on our planet as well. Data expunged. Whatever happens to the globe happens to the Earth, and we launched it into the sun. I can't think of much stupider than that, no. A box with a tiny version of our universe in it. I stand corrected. A spooky lamp. An equally disturbing painting. And SCP-682, it came back on fire. Well, that's our launching people into the sun budget for the year. So yes, Desk, did you have a stupid thing the Foundation did? SCP-5000, the Foundation said, "Fuck it, world, go die." Hey, apparently we did that for a good reason, and it was bad that we failed to destroy humanity. Okay? Loyalty to the Foundation. Isaac, thank you for donating twice again. What if you gave SCP-999 alcohol? Well, it would still... alcohol still has sugars, so it would have the same effect as giving 999 sugar. I'm not sure about the alcohol content, though. But if you don't give the dog booze, you don't give 999 booze. It's one for all. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a Wafa Thin Mint on your way past the commissary. If the architect was inserted into somebody's body, what do you think would happen? You saw nothing. What do you mean the architect was inserted into somebody's body? What does that mean? Oh, is that the 108, 148? 184, yes. So you want to create rooms inside someone's body. So here's the thing. It doesn't expand the exterior of the room it's in, meaning that it wouldn't just explode them, but Honestly, it's giving me a headache to think about it. I'm a bit worried about that. I don't really want to test... Well, I kind of do want to test it. Just to see what would happen. I wonder if we can requisition 184 for a D-class test. Jesus, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. Alice, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Grab yourself a handful of marshmallows on your way past the commissary. It's me, hi, the only money you get, sorry. Well, hi, and hey, anything at all is generous more than most, so thank you very much for your generosity. And a reminder, even if you are broke gang, which trust me, many of us are, we are a starving artist community after all, you can still help us by liking, sharing, subscribing, chatting in the chat, commenting on our videos, boosting the algorithm so we can bring more people into the SCP fandom. So, we appreciate your service, Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename the Signal Boosters. How much do you love that green pen? Well, my pen is just a pen, a perfectly normal, non-anomalous pen. So, it's just fine, it's a pen. But because it has this rubberized coating, it is very comfortable to rotate. Because the sticky rubber helps keep it in your fingers. If you use a slick metal pen, you have a problem with slippage. Zerdrin, yes, it is a fountain pen, the blue one. Desk is being an asshole by suggesting I spin it and get ink all over the place. By the way, Site 42 staff, we have 15 minutes left on stream. 15 minutes. I just introduced a friend to There Is No Anti-Memetics Division, or thought I did, I can't remember. That does happen a lot. But, fun fact, Volume 2, the updated edition of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division is currently going through the publishing process. So if you want to get a copy of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division, it will soon be available again. Author Quantum needed to, what's the phrase I'm looking for? Needed to take down the initial version so they could do the updated edition. And so if I go to Quantum's page here, yes, actually, even more so, the pre-order for the new edition of There Is No Anti-Memetics Division is currently up. So this is the new cover, the new look, and you can go to Penguin Random House and pre-order it now in hardcover. So if you want to get the new edition, now's the time. Hashtag not sponsored. Just supporting SCP creators and SCP stories. Isaac, thank you for donating again. We should get SCP-096 therapy. The only therapy I have ever seen worked has been in dimensions where there is a group of entities called the Tenda. They live in a village in deep darkness, and they own a book called Overcoming Shyness. And when SCP-096 has been exposed to the Overcoming Shyness book, they have become a complete extrovert and started doing TikTok dances. So, you know, if that's what you want, then I guess fine. Affleck, thank you for your first donation to today's stream as well as being a member. Make sure to grab yourself a hoagie on your way past the commissary. Dr. Sherman, they found out about the SCP Fight Club. We need to cover up stat. SCP Fight Club? SCP Fight Club. That's ridiculous. There is no SCP Fight Club. No one is pitting SCPs against each other in the ring for entertainment and or betting. It's just not happening. And so there's no rules against talking about SCP Fight Club because there is no SCP Fight Club. Therefore, there are no rules against talking about it. You understand what I mean, right? So no, we don't need to cover up because there is no SCP Fight Club. That's just not a thing. You don't got to worry about that at all. It doesn't exist. All right, but also, like, hide the betting ledger. Come on now, get the ledger. Isaac, thank you for donating again. That's even worse. You know it. Goldtooth Slayer, thank you for donating again. Does Milo EXE really kill their victims? Because most of the articles I have read make it quite confusing to either they died by paranoia or to it. First of all, it's not Milo, it's M-A-L-O. Mal-O. And 1471 cannot interact with our plane of existence. The people who died of Mallow, they are always super freaked out and stressed to the point of psychosis and end up harming themselves or doing something accidentally to cause them to die. To my knowledge, no Mallow has ever physically interacted with our plane of existence. Therefore, they cannot harm you except by making you paranoid and crazy. Leo and Bloxy Pancake, welcome to Site 42 staff. Thank you for subscribing. This isn't Pokemon. You are correct. You are correct. This is not Pokemon. I am not Professor Oak. And there is no battling of SCPs between each other for good or for ill happening. You're right. Not Pokemon at all. There are no Pokemon battles, and there are no SCP battles. What is the SCP where you put one thing in one end and a better thing comes out the other end? You're thinking about SCP-914, but it does not just improve things. It can be used to make things worse or better, depending on the settings of the machine. SCP-914. I recognize the bodies in the water. No, you don't. Stop it. You don't recognize the bodies. Do better. What is the strongest SCP? Well, intern Mango, if you look at the first line of the description of SCP-6101, it clearly states, SCP-6101 is the strongest SCP. There's nothing else to say about it from there. Is the music off today or just really quiet? No, there's music playing. It might be a little quiet on this particular song. The music, Chestafactory, is by Billith, otherwise known as Slowgramming. The link is in the description of the stream, and you can also find playlists on Spotify. You're looking for Slowgramming. Chris, thank you for donating to the Ko-Fi again. What about when a researcher put mallow into the clockworks on Very Fine? Did that actually happen? When did that happen? SCP 1471 SCP 914. I do not recall that happening in any sense. All right, here's a test where they installed they used smartphones with Mallow's app installed. On course, the phone was downgraded to a flip phone, and the code had a color image of Mallow standing in a small room. The phone on a 1-to-1, the iPhone turned into a Samsung brand's phone. Images sent from 1471 are confirmed to retain their anomalous properties, but 1471 appears confused in such images. After putting the iPhone with Mallow on it through Fine setting, all instances of 1471-1 are missing from all received images. Images do not have their anomalous properties. Upon reaching the final image, several images of 1471 are seen, seemingly arguing with each other. And so they start all of the Mallows were stuck in one picture. That's interesting. And then on Very Fine, with a researcher, a dead researcher, all instances of Mallow were replaced with the dead doctor. Upon viewing the image, the usual anomalous properties are noted, with 1471-1 being replaced by Dr. Amistov. Class D testing has shown that Dr. Amistov retained his sentience and is able to converse with affected personnel? What the fuck? They used a combination of an iPhone with Mallow installed and the corpse of a dead researcher on Very Fine to bring the ghost of the researcher to life and in existence as an off-brand Mallow. What the hell? Chris, I do not know what you thought you were looking for there, but what we have found here is insane. Sheesh. Well, I think that is a great place to end today's stream with some good what the fuckery. So, here we are at the end of today's stream, and at the end of today's stream, as always, I tell you guys my favorite SCPs. But of course, I'm not going to tell you that my favorite SCPs are the ones I personally wrote. That would be cheating. But if you want to read the SCPs I wrote, you can go to the Sherm's author page and Site 42 Hub to see the SCPs I personally wrote. There's some that I've also done audio work for or voice work. You can see those as well. And if you want to go one tab over from those SCPs that I wrote, you'll find some links. Some of those links that people are very interested in finding, but they're not daring enough, intrepid enough to do the exploration to find said links. But I think you guys have the power. Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codenamed the Signal Boosters, doesn't fail. And so, while you're there at those links, you can become a Site-42 Patreon patron or YouTube channel member to donate to us monthly. You can do a Ko-Fi or a Super Chat if you want to donate to us once at a time. Either way, we appreciate your direct donations. They help us keep the lights on around here. And hey, if you can't donate because you're broke, gang, remember that if you are here chatting, commenting, liking, sharing, subscribing, all that YouTube business, then we greatly appreciate you as an honored and valuable member of Mobile Task Force Psi-42, codename the Signal Boosters. It's because of your efforts helping us with the YouTube algorithm that we're able to bring more Site-42 fans into existence and then make them help us to support the SCP Wiki and its authors, artists, animators, game devs, filmmakers, merch makers, etc. So Mobile Task Force Psi-42, we appreciate your help in being a boon to the SCP Foundation community. Now, without further ado, my favorite SCPs in no particular order are SCP-3999, SCP-3043, SCP-008-J, SCP-Spooky-J, SCP-5031, SCP-5175, SCP-5320, and SCP-8980. Content warning on that last one, is a rough read. Speed round 3999-3043-008-J, Spooky-J, 5031, 5175, 8980. Content warning on the last one, it's a rough read. I got a couple last-minute donations coming in here. Soul Hunter, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, as well as being a member. Grab yourself a Kimbap on your way past the commissary. Would a Weeping Angel be more concerning than 173? Well, 173 breaks your neck and you die. The Weeping Angel transports you back in time and steals your time energy. But also, if you look at it too long, then a Weeping Angel grows in your brain. So I think the Weeping Angel has more ways to get you. And then I saw a last-minute Ko-Fi come in. Chris, thank you for donating again. Honestly, it's better than the YouTube outcome where Mallow was brought out of the phone. Well, yes, but I'm not exactly trusting the fanfic from that particular SCP Explained animated video. They get fast and loose on their canonicity, and sometimes they just make stuff up for funsies and clickbait. So, while Explained is not as bad as like Rubber and Detective Void, they're still I'm still grumpy at them about threatening to destroy SCP-067, the fountain pen, so that they could instead install the 6-7 brain rot kid. So, they're on my bad side for now. Grouchy. For those of you who asked who has the most SCP articles written to date, according to Billith, Billith says that Uncle Nicolini has 344 pages on the SCP Wiki. 110 SCPs, 111 tales, 48 group of interest formats, 1 artwork, and 74 others, with a total of 36,009 upvotes. That's so many. So, that is at least our current guess on who has the most SCPs written. But Site-42 staff, I hope you have fun. I hope you learned something today. This has been another Dr. Sherman's Office Hours, a subsidiary of the anomalous broadcast from Site-42. Be safe, be well, and as always, secure, contain, protect. I'll see you in the next video or stream. The stars will cry the blackest tears tonight, and this is the moment that I live for. I can smell the ocean air, and here I am, pouring my heart onto these rooftops, just a ghost to the world. That's exactly what I need. From up here, the city lights burn like 1,000 miles of fire, and I'm here to sing this anthem of our dying day. The credit song is Anthem of Our Dying Day by Story of the Year. See you tomorrow, Site-42 staff.